Most trailers look good on paper, but crack under real-world use. This Peak Mtn Camp X32 changes that. With 21 feet of rugged, customizable living space and a 5-foot porch that doubles as an ATV deck, this trailer is engineered for durability first. Every inch is built to outlast the elements and tailored to fit your lifestyle. Stick around, because once you see how it's built, you'll realize why no other trailer really measures up. So as I mentioned in the introduction, this is an X32 camp. So if you're seeing that and wondering what that is, the X is the width of the camp. So we do a couple of different models that are based on the widths. This one is 102 inches exterior. So that is our X model, would be the width, and then the total length. So you'll see an X and then a number after it. This one's a 32. That's the total length from bumper to tongue. This one does have a 21-foot living space, and then the 5-foot deck, as I mentioned in the intro. This is really nice for hauling ATVs, coolers, makes for a nice porch when you're there. We do a lot of them that they'll stub up propane to them, so that they can cook out here, put their lawn chairs out. They'll do electric AC outlets on the front to where they can really do whatever they want. I do like this option because most of the time when we go, we take a lot of gear. And so, you know, putting the e-bikes up here versus on the back hitch or whatever, it just makes a nice area to keep stuff. And then when you get there, it's a nice porch. So I'll show you some clips with the e-bikes on there that we like to travel with and use, you know, for running around when we're on the mountain. But as I mentioned, 5-foot deck, and then you've got another 6-foot from the front of this deck to the tongue. This does have storage in it. So as you open it up, these grates are removable. Now, I realize I just had a comment on the last video that this isn't really protected from the elements. It's not supposed to be. This is for stuff like tire chocks, sewer hoses, whatever, that kind of stuff that you don't worry about getting wet. It's just a good use of space, and that's one thing when we design these. We want to make sure that we utilize every inch of space. Because something that we've learned through working on RVs and different things is they're not very well thought out. There's a lot of space there, but it's just not utilized. They throw water heaters or furnaces or whatever in usable space where they could put them somewhere else. And so as we look at each individual camp, as we do layouts and stuff, we want to utilize all of that space. And so that's what this is just utilizing this space. Otherwise, you wouldn't do anything there. It would just be a deck. So that just keeps things. I mean, this one, it's got our stabilizer jack handles in there, our jack handles, a bunch of different things that we really don't care if they get wet. You've got two 7-gallon, 30-pound propane tanks on this. That's standard on all of them. We put the covers on them. That keeps all of your pigtails and everything from sun rotting, which is going to make a big difference in the life of your trailer. This one does have the manual jack on it. You can do these with electric jacks. I do like this because it's really heavy duty. I don't worry about customers bending this or anything. The electric jack is rated at 4,000 pounds, and it's stout. It does what it needs to do. But the shaft on it's not as big, and so you're a little more likely, if you forget to chalk your wheels or anything like that, you do risk bending that, and it's not cheap. So I do like this option, but it is nice to be able to hit the button, be able to move that jack up and down. It's convenient. You've got your 2 5/16 adjustable coupler. This allows you to really fine-tune the ride characteristics of that. Speaking of ride characteristics, every one of these is custom built. So we build everything from the frame up, and so when we do a floor plan and stuff, we make sure our axle placement is in the right place to get our tongue weight right. And like this one, this kind of camp is actually a little trickier because we need this trailer to pull better than you've ever pulled a trailer. And when we do this deck, we throw a four-wheeler on that completely changes some weight characteristics as far as tongue weight. And so we had to figure, with a four-wheeler on there, without a four-wheeler, we want it to pull good with either option. And so we make sure our axle placement's good, but I would dare bet you'll never pull a bumper pull trailer that pulls as good as one of these. And a lot of that is, you know, the weight of them, as well as, you know, the placement of those axles and getting those weight characteristics right. So we can fine tune everything to make sure our ride height and everything is good with your truck. You match this adjustable coupler with an adjustable hitch, and we really can fine tune that and get everything the way that we need to. So as you can see, big safety chains. We've got hooks here. Keep them up out of the mud. There's nothing worse than going to repair one of these trailers that they've dropped off in the winter and they've dropped the chains in the snow and they're frozen to the ground. I hate that. So we have done the hooks to where it keeps those up off the ground, to where if you do go to move it or whatever, it's not down in the mud, it's not in the snow, all of those things. You do have your fold-up steps. These will fold up. So these things, as you'll notice on this, I mean, lots of clearance. You're almost 30 inches to the bottom of that angle iron on the bottom. So lots of clearance. You've got this step, and a lot of people will ask us, well, does that thing fold up, or is it always hanging down? It does. It'll fold up over the top. Whether you get this deck or not, it always does that. And it's heavy, so it's not going anywhere. As you move that up and down, it'll just sit there. So for our deck on the front, you do have your ramps that are in here. So they're nice and tucked away. We can pull them out. And they're ready to load. So you can ride your ATV up on there, park it. It's got all these tie downs to be able to strap it. As I mentioned, we use it a lot for our e-bikes. We like to take them and be able to run around. So it opens up a lot of things for you, whether you're an ATV person or just want a porch. It'll do all that. So let me tuck these back in here and we'll move along. Moving down the side, there's nothing really different about this one than most of the others. I mean, you'll see larger storage compartments, some different layouts of where water heaters and things go that way, but not a lot different there. You'll notice on this, most of your trailers that you're gonna see now are all fiberglass. We've stuck with aluminum. The reason for that is if I ever have an issue with this, I can replace an individual piece really easily. Whereas fiberglass, if I get a hole in it or anything, I'm replacing a whole side panel, or I'm taking it to a body shop, getting it patched, getting it repainted. And you know, the biggest issue with the fiberglass is delamination. Over time, the glues and stuff break down in the sun, the water, all of those things take a toll on it. And so they look really sharp when they're new, but they don't hold up. So a lot of people will say, God, that's really dated. But it's proven, it works. And so we stay with that because we want a product that's gonna last a long time. We do the angle iron all the way around the exterior. I've actually had camps that have been wrecked that I've seen asphalt all the way up these corners. I've seen a lot of different things. These are built durable. They're not gonna break down like your average travel trailer. We've got 7,200 pound axles. These are 8 lug. These are 14 ply tires. We can do a number of variations in tires. We can match tires to your truck. We can do whatever you want there, but we're gonna make sure that it's going to hold up and do what it needs to do. 6-gallon propane water tank. And then the reason this one has such a big door on this side is because of the layout on the inside. And so Lots of storage area here. You can do, this is plumbed to where it's got propane to where you can do a camp chef, Blackstone griddles, all of that stuff, store Dutch ovens, whatever you want to do in here. Tons of storage. So, and like I say, once we go inside, you'll understand kind of the layout and how it lays out in there. But these are all a double sealed door. These are all solid. They're not foam core or anything, solid doors. They've got locking latches, so they're all keyed to where you can lock those, keep all the water, all the elements out of them. You've got your spare tire, and it's on the same size. It's on a cable system to where it cranks down, drops down just like it would your truck, and then you have your stabilizer jacks on all four corners. As we move to the back, you've got your coax port for an antenna, and then it's also set up with Starlink capable, so it's just a matter of plugging into it, plugging your modem in on the inside, and you're good to go as far as the internet goes that way. You have two 100-watt solar panels that come standard. We can do ports for extra portable panels. We can do extra panels. We can do a lot of stuff when it comes to the electrical. Well guys, before we get going too hot and heavy on this tour, I wanted to show you a new product that I think you're gonna find kind of cool, and it works particularly well on this layout and the way that this is configured. I did mention the deck on the front and how we like to keep our e-bikes up there. Well, this model, we can actually store this e-bike inside, so keeps it nice. We can keep it with us all the time if that's specifically what you do. But this is the Sizzleback S200 foldable bike. So as you can see, it folds up nice and compact. It's easy to maneuver. And we can set it up in literally seconds. Ready to ride. So this is my wife's bike, but like I say, we like to take these, but to be able to fold it and put it in a compact space really makes a difference when you're traveling, to try and conserve some of that, whether it's in the truck bed like this one. Normally we would travel them with them on the deck, but this one, where it folds up, we've got a nice spot for it there in the back. So kind of a cool product. If you want to know more about it, you can find details in the description. Big storage door here, kind of same thing. I'll just open it up briefly so you can see. But you've got a freshwater tank in here. This is a 42 fresh gallon tank. You can do multiple tanks. We can do a lot of different things as far as storage. You do have a water filtration set up in this one, something that the customers wanted. And all of that area is heated as well. So all of your water is in insulated space, so you don't have to worry about anything freezing, doing anything like that. You have a 2-inch receiver on your bumper. If you pull doubles, if you haul bikes, whatever, generator racks, all of those things, it's set up to do that. And it is wired for your 7-way plug to where it has electric brakes that'll work off your brake controller, everything. So all DOT approved with all of our lights. They're also compliant in Canada. So in this compartment, we have our battery bank. So we've got 6 AGM 6-volt batteries in here. That equates to about 700 amp hours of battery life. And then with the solar, that actually works really good. Now, a lot of you are going to say lithium. You know, whether you want to use lithium or not, that's completely up to you. We can do all of those things, but it's going to come down. The reason that I use this setup is because it's been proven. I've got trailers, 15 plus years that are on the same set of batteries, and so this system works. Not saying that lithium can't work for you, but I look at the cost difference between lithium and this setup, and you're about a quarter of the cost for this setup. So that's completely up to you. Your solar controller lights, they do have an outlet in here, just some things that they wanted. Water fill, city and gravity fill, so you can fill your tank, hook up your hose. If you're in a campground, you can do all of that. 30,000 BTU furnace. Now this is probably overkill for this setup, and a lot of that they recommend in the RV industry. They recommend 1,000 BTUs for every foot of trailer. What that equates to is they're putting a furnace basically in a cardboard box and asking it to keep that warm. We've got 6 inches of R19 in the floor, 6 inches of R19 in the ceiling, and then the walls are framed up just like a home with all of the dead space insulated. And so this one being a 21-foot trailer or living space and having a 30,000 BTU furnace, this thing's probably not going to run hardly at all. It's going to bring it up to temperature, and it's going to stay in temperature. So that's kind of how we do things. Everything we do is probably overkill, but we're of the mentality that we would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So this is your wood box door. As you can see, I've got a couple little pieces of wood and stuff in here. That's what I use to burn the wood stove. That feeds all the way through, so I can access this from inside the trailer. I can keep kindling, lighters, whatever, fire starters, that type of stuff in here, ash bucket, and then the next time I'm outside or whatever, I can load everything up. Don't have to track a lot of dirt and stuff through the trailer. So really nice setup there. This is just a fresh air intake that allows you to pull fresh air in for the wood burning stove. You have your electric cord, so this is a 30 amp service that has got a 25-foot cord. So you can blow it out, plug it in, whether you're using a generator or shore power at your home or a campground. So these are just refrigerator vents. We have heated tanks. So these have both propane heat that goes into them as well as electric heating elements on them, and then there's a circulation fan that also allows you to pump air in there. So anyways, I think that kind of wraps up the exterior. If you have any questions on that, you can ask me. I try and keep them as brief as I can, just because I know you guys want to get on the interior. So let's go ahead and get inside. All right, let's climb up in here. As you can see here on the front, this does have the Dutch door. So it's got that split upper half. Really nice when you're in a cool location to be able to open that up and see that cool location. So nice that way. This is very traditional. A lot of the old sheep camps. Now, I realize a lot of you probably don't have a clue what a sheep camp is, but out west where we build these, they're very common in the agricultural industry, and so they were used for living or housing the herders. And that front door, a lot of it was to regulate temperature from the wood stove, and then the old ones they could actually hook up to their horses and pull them with their horses. So that's where that comes from, but it's still kind of a cool feature that we use today. So as we go in here, I'm just going to close this door behind me. We'll go through the colors like we always do. So on the walls, we have North Fork Pine is the wall color in this. And then the cabinetry is a cedar. And then the countertop is Jatoba green. And I failed to write down what the flooring is, so I'll have to put that in the comments for you. As I mentioned on the exterior, this is a 20-foot living space, 21-foot living space. You're 8 feet wide, and then you're about 7'4" as far as the height of the ceiling. As we come up to the front, we have a little mud room up here, which I really like. There's heat down low. They did an outlet where they can do boot dryers or whatever they need to do there. It does have a closet rod for hanging, and then a little storage up above. Now, as I mentioned in all of our videos, all of our cabinetry is all hardwood. So this is an alder cabinetry material, and then it's finished, as I mentioned, in that cedar finish. So all soft close hinges, all your upper cabinets have gas struts on them that's going to keep them closed. And we have our built-in microwave convectional oven. This does have the air fry in it as well, so really cool feature that you can use. I'm not much of a cooker, so the microwave comes in real handy. You have our two-way fridge. This is both propane and AC. We'll switch over automatically. Stainless steel inserts in it. Big freezer area, as well as a good size fridge. And then as we move our way more towards the back, we come to all of our switches and everything. You got your water heater. These are all optional things that you can do. All of these are custom built, so you can get it however you want. So as I mentioned on the exterior, this one does have the heated tank options. So what that means is we enclose those tanks in insulated cover, and then we put electric heating elements on them, 12-volt electric heating elements, and then we also ductwork in there from our forced air furnace. So that allows us to heat them multiple ways. So as we look at these switches, these are for our heating elements on the tanks themselves. And then there's some heating elements on those drain tubes as well. So all of those, we can turn those on when it's cold. These are on built-in thermostats. So what'll happen is if I turn these on, it's probably, I don't know, 75 degrees outside. Even though these lights are on, these are not on, and that's because they're already up to temperature. And so what they'll do is if that temperature drops below 45 degrees, those will kick on and they'll bring the temperature of those tanks back up. So they're kind of nice that they control themselves. You don't have to do anything. They'll do everything for you. They do draw, they're 15 amps or 15 watts a piece. So, and it's hard to determine how much that is because it's going to be dependent on how cold it is, how much water's in the tank, all of those things. So all things to consider when you're speccing out a trailer. Are you going to be plugged in? Are you going to be boondocking all the time? Because the way that I use the camp is those are going to be kind of a last resort type deal. I'm going to use my forced air furnace to keep things warm, as well as I'm always going to use my wood burning stove, because who buys a trailer with a wood burning stove and doesn't use it? But anyways, I'll cover that. This one is not on a thermostat, so when it's on, it's heating those. I generally turn that on just a couple hours before I dump, just to make sure everything's good. Realistically, if my water in my tanks are warm, I'm not going to be froze on the outside. So knock on wood, I've never had a trailer freeze and break. We mold all of our tanks, so they're a thicker molding than what you're going to find in any of the other RV stuff. And yeah, we've just had really good luck. This fourth switch is a recirculation fan. What that does is that circulates warm air from the wood burning stove throughout the trailer and also into that tank enclosure. And so if you are using that wood burning stove, chances are your thermostat for your furnace is going to be satisfied. And so it's not going to kick on and it's not going to blow air throughout the trailer or into that tank enclosure. And so being able to turn that on will allow you to circulate that warm air from the wood burning stove throughout the trailer. This one's just a blank for cabinet lights, which would be lighting in all of your lower cabinets. All of these cabinets, as you would open them up, those would have lights in them, which makes it nice when you're bending down, getting stuff in there. So, water heater switch, this is our monitoring panel. If I turn it on, it'll run us through all of our levels. Let's see what it tells us. Fresh tanks at 2%, gray tank 0, black tank 0, battery voltage and then it'll tell you all your alarms. And then what it'll do is it'll scan those tanks every 15 minutes is what it's standard. You can set it to calibrate however frequently you want it. You can change a bunch of different things. We will go through and we will set alarms on this to where when the freshwater tank gets below 25%, you'll get an alarm. When the black and the gray tank get above 75%, you'll also get an alarm. That'll help you keep a good idea of what's going on, whether you need to conserve water, think about dumping, all of those different things. So you've got USB ports all throughout the trailer, AC outlets, lots of counter space. This one has a 3-burner cooktop with storage below it. So you can do this, you can do ovens. Like I say, they're all customizable. All of your drawers. These are all dovetail drawers. And then these have latching drawer slides in them. So as you push these in, they'll stay closed. They'll pull themselves closed and stay closed, which is nice because that's a big complaint we have as we work around these trailers and stuff. They come in and they tell us, oh, all of our drawers are broke. They pulled out when we were traveling down the road. You won't have that issue with one of ours. Big storage area in here with a little shelf. As I mentioned, all soft close hinges on these doors. And then more storage below. You have your electrical center, so all of your fuses, breakers, everything are in there. Heat registers and outlets. And then we have the wood burning stove. I don't have it burning in this video. If you want to see it burning, most videos I have it going, but I just ran out of time to get this one going today. But this is a game changer. Having the wood stove and to being able to feel that warmth. And as I mentioned on the exterior, all the insulation values in here, once it's warm in here, it will stay warm in here. It retains that temperature really well to where whether it's cold weather or warm weather, once you get it cold or hot in here, it's going to stay that way. Propane gas light. This is not something that you see too frequently anymore. These used to be in all the old trailers as well as cabins and things that way. Really nice feature. I like having options. So like this one, you've got propane heat. You've also got wood burning heat. You've got your LED lights. And then you have a propane light. So you always have options if you were ever to encounter anything. I like that. I like having options. As I mentioned, gas struts. That's overhead storage. And then this one's kind of a different layout. It's kind of a traditional layout with the pull-out table and the higher bed. And then it has a little trundle drawer on this side, which I'll show you as soon as I get done talking about these benches. So you've got a bench here with a soup box. What the soup box is this lifts up and there's storage there, whether you put guns in there or soup cans or anything like that. You've got more storage below there. Your cushions. And then they did do the shades, pull down shades in this one with the engravings. And you can do a lot of different things in these engravings. If you've got a brand or a family crest or anything like that, or just want some scenery, this one has a combination of a bunch of different stuff in it. So it's got a wildlife scene here. You've got a little cattle drive scene here on the back egress window. This window, it's got another wildlife scene. I should turn that light off so you can see it too. And then on this one, we've got some ducks. So lots of cool things that you can do on those if that's something that you're interested in. I like the shades. The other option we have is curtains, and you can do your own fabric. You can build your own curtains. You can do a lot of different things that way. So as I mentioned, this trundle drawer, I want to move these cushions, and then I can show you how this works. So it's just got a bunk latch, and then it'll pull out. So a lot of storage in that, whether you keep sleeping bags, pillows, guns, whatever, you can put a lot of stuff in there. So kind of a cool layout, like as I mentioned on the outside. good use of space. Otherwise, that would just be wasted space. And so we try and do everything that we can to make sure that you have as much usable space as you can. So, pull-out table. So that'll pull out. It's nice, stored away. Like I say, good use of space. So whether you're eating at the bench or you're on the recliners, still works good. Queen size pillow top up top. And then they had us do the overhead storage on this one. So they've got overhead storage on both the foot, the side, and in the headboard. And then you've got a little bookshelf that also has storage. This bottom shelf here will lift up to where you can store stuff in there. In this back compartment, you have all of your cable hookup, Starlink, all of that stuff's up in there. You have USB ports on these reading lights, and they're 3 different shades, so you can dim them down. You can do a bunch of different stuff with that. We have switched now. Instead of doing the Fantastic fan, we are doing the Max Air fans. Now these will pull air in or out. You can do a number of different things with them. Makes it really nice. You've got your engraved rosewood trim. And then recliners on this side. These will recline almost all the way flat, so you could sleep in them. In fact, I find once I get sat down in them and I get a fire going, that's usually where I end up. It's just a cozy, comfy feel. So your kitchen area with your big, deep stainless steel sink. This one does have the cutting board or breadboard that pulls out. Then you have your row of drawers. Under your sink, you've got a tip out. They did add a hand pump in this. So as I mentioned, with the lighting and the heating and having options, so this one's going to run off a pump. This one's just got a hand pump, so they can actually put a 5-gallon jug below and be able to pump water in there. So once again, having some options is not a bad thing. Their water heater is under here with all of their bypass and everything easily accessible. As you can see, we don't use any plastic fittings. Everything we use is all brass crimped, stainless steel flex lines. We don't scrimp when it comes to this stuff, because these are common failing points that we see in the RV industry as we work on them, and so we have no interest in doing anything like that. So we move back to the front. You have your pull-out pantries. So you have an upper and a lower pantry, and then they do have these latches on them. So even though they've got those latching drawer slides, we still put latches on them just because you're going to get a lot of heavy stuff in there. I don't want that coming out as you travel. So your lower one, and then let's go into the bathroom. So this is an 1.5 inch thick solid door. And then it's got a continuous hinge that runs the entire length to support that weight. This one doesn't have the vanity in it. They've pushed the toilet to where it runs north and south, and then have done a little linen closet, and then a medicine cabinet up above. And then it does have the 32-inch by 32-inch shower with the stainless steel surround. You got a frosted bathroom window, an exhaust fan, and then up here in the front, all of our camps come equipped with dimmers as well, so we can dim the lights down. That's also serves as an on-off switch, so you can do whatever you want to do there, help you conserve power. And then you also have your exterior lights on a dimmer switch as well. So whether you do side lights, everything's going to come with a porch light standard. Your main cabinet lights, your bathroom lights, And then as I mentioned, they're all on dimmer switches. You do have access. This is something also from working on RV stuff. I always want to be able to get to anything. If I ever do have an issue, I want things accessible. I don't want to have to tear cabinets out. I don't want to have to rummage around through different things to try and figure out how I'm going to fix it. Everything's accessible in here. Wires, everything. I don't run really anything in the walls or the floor, just for that very reason. If I have to fix it, I've got to be able to get to it, and I don't want to do a bunch of stuff to get to it. So anyways, I do always fail to mention the air conditioner. Whether you decide you want an air conditioner in yours or not, they're all going to be framed for an air conditioner. They're all going to be wired for an air conditioner. It's just something that we do. We're already there. We're going to set it up that way. That way, if, say, in a year you decide you want an air conditioner, it's just a matter of me cutting the hole and putting the air conditioner on. So we take the time to do all of those things ahead of time so that it makes your life a lot easier. So anyways, I hope you appreciate this camp. I think it's turned out really nice. I think the customers are going to be super proud of this one. So if you have questions or comments or anything, leave them in the comments. I try and respond to most of them. We're getting really busy, and so I don't have as much time to respond to them, but if you leave it, I'll try my hardest to get to them. So as always, we appreciate you for watching, for sharing, for doing all those things. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We have new camps coming dang near every 2 weeks. So anyways, thanks for watching.